Live in-depth coverage right now in Gilbert as we work to learn more about 5 people gunned down. ABC 15 Steve Irvin just getting updates from police and the FBI. Adam Slinger and Brian Webb teaming up to gather new information on the victims out there. All of our coverage tonight from the very home where the shooting happened, just northeast of Cooper and Warner. Tonight, Steve Irvin is leading our live team coverage. And Steve, we know JT Reddy was somehow involved in this, and that's a name the Valley knows pretty well.
Yeah, Katie, he was a polarizing figure in the heated debate over illegal immigration. He was someone who certainly gave people a lot of emotion when they were talking about this. Once considered a rising political star, only to be shunned for his radical beliefs. He was an avowed neo-Nazi, a white supremacist, and tonight, perhaps a cold-blooded killer as well. Now, we've been working this story from a number of angles. Brian Webb is going to have more on who JT Reddy really was, and Adam Slinger has been talking with family and friends of the victims just to find out exactly who we are and who we actually lost here. But we're going to start with the latest we know from investigators. Right now, they've been on the scene since about 1:15 this afternoon. They're still waiting to get inside that home itself after getting a search warrant. Officers found 2 55-gallon drums in the backyard, and inside those drums, some sort of unknown chemical. It caused them to actually call out the hazmat team here. Officers also say they discovered munitions in the home, which could present a danger, and apparently so dangerous that a federal agency has been called in to remove those munitions. Meantime, the FBI already on scene, and our ABC 15 investigators were the first to break that angle. A counter-terrorism unit assisting in the investigation. Meantime, the bodies of the 4 adult victims are still inside, so it appears that officers are going to be here all night long. Gilbert police are not confirming the identities of those victims just yet, but we do know that JT Reddy did have a personal connection here, and officers have said that the shooter is dead and somewhere inside that home. Now, meantime, we've been learning about all of the victims here, just who they were and the personal connections among them. Adam Slinger has been talking with family and friends of some of those victims, and certainly, Adam, a tragic story all around.
Yeah, and the friends tell me that most of these victims here, Steve, were actually family members. What's really chilling is what one of the women wrote on her Facebook wall just about 12 hours before her death.
Time to get the drama out of my life and make a better life for me and my daughter and my love.
Yeah, a friend read us several postings. Those words were written by Amber Metaros. Friends tell us Amber was shot along with her 1-year-old daughter Lily, her fiance Jim Hyatt, Amber's mother Lisa, and Lisa's boyfriend JT Reddy. Police are not saying which one of those adults fired the shots, nor are they sharing a possible motive. Amber worked at a nearby Wendy's. She graduated from Mesquite High School and was in the color guard there. Her friends tell us they are now planning a candlelight vigil for her this Saturday night.
I can't do anything but come tell you guys how much of a loving person that she was, you know, and that's all that I can say, is that she was an amazing person. She was so friendly to everybody. That's about all I can say. So.
And there was another Facebook message on that wall that investigators will be looking at tonight, Steve. Her second to last posting, 2 words, just said, "So scared," and did not elaborate beyond that.
Yeah, that's one of the many clues I'm sure that investigators are going to be looking at, and just a terrible case. These people had such bright futures ahead of them,
Very
including that 18-month-old girl who was alive at the scene when paramedics arrived. She was rushed to the hospital, but ultimately she didn't make it. Meantime, we've been checking into the most controversial figure among the dead here, JT Reddy. He might not have been a household name to a lot of people in the Valley, but certainly anybody who's followed politics and the heated immigration debate certainly had a familiarity with that name. And Brian Webb has been checking into his checkered and storied past. I know you had a chance to interview him yourself.
It was a couple of years ago after a neo-Nazi march in downtown Phoenix, and soon after that, at least officially, Reddy stepped away from the socialist movement and started his own border patrol unit, kind of a militia group. So over the past couple of years, Reddy, a former Marine, and his group would scour the Arizona desert looking for illegal border crossers and smugglers, doing it on their own time, spending their own money, and they were always armed in case of trouble. Then a few months back, Reddy decided to run for Pinal County Sheriff, and Harry Hughes handled much of the initial campaign until resigning last month. He told me today, the 2 men last spoke a couple of weeks ago, that he got a call earlier today about the shootings and recognized Reddy's car from the news footage. He doesn't really know any details about what might have happened, but he tells me Reddy always carried a gun, but at the same time, he can't imagine that he would shoot anyone out of anger, especially a child.
This is a shock to me, but I'm going to, remember JT as the man I knew him as, the patriot, the compassionate, kind person that he was.
And Steve, neighbors confirmed to us tonight that Reddy moved into that Gilbert house behind us about a year ago.
Yeah, JT Reddy, certainly a controversial figure, and a lot has been made as well about his possible connection with former State Senator Russell Pierce. In fact, so many people have asked Pierce about that today that he issued a statement tonight. Pierce has certainly tried to dissolve his connections with Reddy as much as possible. He admits that, yes, he knew him and that initially Reddy was part of the Republican Party, a very active political organization in the city of Mesa. But certainly Pierce says that when he discovered Reddy's connections with some of these hate groups, he worked very hard to remove him from the party because of those connections. Pierce certainly angry with a lot of the people that have tried to draw some of those connections tonight. Now, as we mentioned, police expected to be here all night long. They're still waiting to get inside that house, and we're expecting to get an update from them sometime early tomorrow morning. Of course, we're going to have crews here all night long following every development. You can look for that on ABC 15 Morning starting at 4:30. And of course, as always, any new information coming out on ABC15.com. Katie?
Yeah, a lot of important details helping us sort of understand a little bit more what happened out there, and especially a lot of people thinking about that baby.
Yeah, the 18 months old, and you have to wonder the motivation here. Who would shoot a child, even in the most violent and hateful attacks? And we really don't know exactly what happened inside, but a lot of people are just asking that question, why?
Yeah, just so young and senseless. Steve, thank you. We're going to check in with him again a little later in the newscast, get some more information. We'll also be covering this shooting live on ABC 15 Mornings for you tomorrow. Updates are also being posted at all hours for you on ABC15.com. We're also following quite the survival